Hello and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. With the Undine Soul, we can now walk on water just like Jesus, and we can head up to a new area that we bypassed before to get the Flying Armor Soul earlier in the run. And that should bring us to a new area just up here. Make sure to switch out your Undine Soul for the Headhunter Soul first, though. Otherwise, it's a waste of a slot. And that brings us to the floating garden, and our first new enemy is just ahead. The cockatrice, or the dick bird. We'll get that soul and be right back with that. Okay, I've got the cockatrice soul. This one fires a beam of petrification, basically. However, the beam is diagonally pointed down toward where you're facing, so it's very hard to hit enemies with it. I'll show you up here on the next new enemy that we face. We've already got these imp... Oh. Well, you see what I mean. It's hard to aim with it. We've already got that imp soul, so we can skip that, but we don't have this guy up here. Right there. And see, there we go. It petrified him. And that's the red crow. We'll be back with his soul. Okay, I've got the red crow soul. That increases intelligence by 4 points. But we already have the intelligence by 8 points, and we'll get the Gorgon soul next. Okay, I've got the Gorgon soul now too. This increases constitution by 12 points. So it's probably about the best you'll get for a defensive soul for quite a while. We'll skip that area up there right now, and we'll keep going over to another new enemy. The Dead Warrior, will be back with that. Okay, I've got the Dead Warrior soul. This allows us to, it says deflect normal attacks. What it actually does is it cancels out your attack midway. So you can use, I'll show you here, you can use your regular attack and then your bullet soul right away. Really quickly. It's actually pretty useful for that reason. Otherwise, you see it's slow between them. So you might want to take advantage of that in boss battles. Save room over here, and then we can take this... Oh, out of my way, Dead Warrior. You're even more dead now. Dead Warrior is dead. Anyway, we'll take this lift so we can explore this area up here. It's the only way to reach this corner of the gardens. Oh, got another cockatrice soul. Soma's into the cock today, I guess. There we go, and I'll meet you back at the fountain now, I think. There we go. Okay, we're back at the fountain, and now we can get the castle map 3. This will reveal all of the floating garden areas. Notice they're kind of like at the top of each tower on the castle. They basically skip around in a seemingly random pattern. Exploring up here quickly. But I'll take us through the quickest route to reach every room without having to backtrack a whole bunch along the way. It's actually not as tricky as it seems. You can get really lost otherwise. Still in love with my disc armor soul. I'll probably use that for a majority of the game, unless I happen to run into a more useful soul for a specific enemy. Otherwise, the disc armor really does do a heck of a lot of damage. Now, notice right here, we suddenly skipped up to this tower near the middle, the top middle. That's basically how these exits are going to work. They're very distant jumps. And we've got another new enemy, the devil. I'll be back with that. Okay, I've got the devil soul. This allows us to transform into a demon. This is our second transformation soul. And we'll take a look at that. If I can do it right. There we go. Just like the other one, the curly soul. Also, the devil drops the skull necklace and also the high mind up. And then the meat strip above that drops from the Gorgon that we killed earlier. Just sort of FYI. The devil's actually a pretty good enemy to farm if you want to get those high mind up drops for more magical based builds, I guess. Now we're over on that tower. See how we suddenly jumped? And we've got another new enemy here, which is the Mandragora. I'll get that soul and be back with that. Okay, we got the Mandragora soul. This kills enemies with a scream. Notice the 110 MP per use. It's one of the most expensive souls, but it's also one of the most powerful, and I'll show you right up here. It can one-hit a lot of enemies. Tore their shit apart, man. Look at that. But it's so killer on your MP, you can't really spam it. It's good on bosses, though, if you don't have any other strategy whatsoever. Kind of like those clouds in the background. Very Mode 7-esque, I guess. Even though this isn't Super Nintendo. It still has that feeling of movement. Make sure to explore all these upper areas if you're doing this on your own run. There's a lot of money to be had up here, which is quite hard to come by until later in the game. There is a secret we'll get to soon. And now we're up here. And we've got two new enemies, the Altair and Ripper. I'll be back with those. Well, we've got one so far. The Altair Soul is basically like any other bullet soul, except that it shoots out a bird. Kind of neat looking, I guess. But there's a better soul, which is going to be from this Ripper. Okay, I've got the Ripper soul. And as promised, this is actually the better of the two souls that you can get right here, and I'll show you why. The Ripper's knife causes damage over time, as you just saw. It sticks in the body. Also, there's a Crimson Cloak that you can get from the Ripper, but it's nothing special, so I think I'll switch back to what I had before. Anyway, yeah, the Ripper's knife sticks into the body of the victim, so it can cause additional damage. And here we have the Kicker Skeleton. I will get his soul off screen and be back with that. Okay, the Kicker allows us to do a special move. It's actually one of the few gray souls that you get from a regular enemy, as opposed to from a standing lamp. So you basically do a jump or a double jump, since we have Malphus ability, and then you press down and the jump arrow a third time. And you can land on top of enemies. If I could do it right. Fuck. There we go. And you can chain it like I just did there, and it'll basically allow you to continually stomp on an enemy's head until they either move or you kill them. It has its uses, I suppose, but you probably won't see me use it the rest of the game. There we go, now we're on the far right tower, and hey look, it's Manticore! Now we can finally get his goddamn soul. Be back with that. Okay, we got the Manticore soul. It's our third and final transformation soul. Kind of a freaky looking thing. Oh man, he hit his forehead. That's gotta hurt. Sorry about the schizophrenic feel of this video. Oh, also, Gladius here is dropped from the Manticore that I said earlier, but we couldn't get it earlier. And then also the red scarf comes from the Ripper that we killed earlier as well. Anyways, I was saying, sorry about the schizophrenic feel of this video. There are so many cuts because there's so many new enemy souls and items to gather that I just couldn't have done it any other way. Now we're over to this area and another new enemy, the werewolf familiar, will be back. Okay, we've got the werewolf soul. This creates a fountain of fire. However, you can't use it in the air, so it has its downfall there, in my opinion. Much better souls to be had in other places. And it's sort of static. And another new enemy, Golem. We'll be back with that. Okay, we have the Golem Soul. Increases strength by 12 points. Pretty good boost, actually. If you don't have the Headhunter up there. Also, that black belt that I just showed, you can get from the werewolf down below. I happened to get it during the run earlier. Just thought I'd show you that to you. It boosts strength, but it decreases both defense and luck. And I think we'll call this a video. We'll explore the last room on the next one. So until then, later.